What's up, everyone? Let me get my microphone over. I didn't even have it over here. Welcome to ClearTalk. Now that it's over here, so you can clearly hear me, hopefully. So yeah, I'm going to do some videos today for the channel, and going over kind of some stuff for the election. We're going to talk about also a little about the Middle East, some more and stuff like that. But here I wanted to do a little just to get us kind of, I don't know, going a little bit, get my mind in this all right here. I see that Jimmy Kimmel did a kind of like a special monologue thing apparently last night for Republicans in your life. He sent out like a post on some social media, I don't know which, or at least that's what it looked like, that if you had a Republican in your life that you loved, to send that to them, to have them, watch, and it's like a 19-minute monologue with a special message for them. And I haven't seen it. Like I said, I just saw this. So I'm gonna kind of do like just a live reaction to it, kind of how I think that it went, because this is apparently supposed to be like a serious monologue, like for Republicans, in relation to Trump. So I'm interested to see what he has to say. I mean, generally, I kind of like Jimmy Kimmel. I don't like everything that he says or does, but he's generally a pretty decent guy. I haven't really had any major like qualms about him or anything. And he's a fairly smart guy. And so I want to give him here, see what he does, see if it's anything that has like something productive really to give to this conversation at this point, before the election. I mean, because I feel like that's the point of this, or it should be, or I don't know. So we're going to react to it and see what it's all about. And I'm going to give my thoughts on it. So anyways, thank you very much. If you are, just to get us started, thank you very much. If you like him with the content I'm doing, consider liking, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out my other channels right there. JMD Drummer, JMDPLAY. Got the Discord there. You want a one-time donation, or go up to JMD Nation. Goodness gracious, I'm having like some weird internal, like them like low key, almost like burps, but not really. Oh my goodness. JMD Nation for $3 a month. Sorry about that. Anyway, all right. So we're gonna swap over here. I'm gonna go, I guess, full view here. Swap this. There we go. All right, so let's do this. Check it out. So yeah, special monologue for the Republican in your life.
Thank you for watching. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. And we have a good show for you tonight. We've got Hugh Grant, Aldous Hodge. We've got music from Dawes tonight. But before we get to them and that, we're going to do something different from what we usually do. Tonight's monologue is for Republicans. So if you have someone in your life who is either planning to vote for Trump or thinking about it, I would like you to send this to a Republican you love and respect with a request. Ask them to watch this whole thing as a personal favor to you. And I promise I won't make you regret it, because it's not going to be our usual roast of Trump or some kind of liberal virtue signaling, none of that. In fact, I'm going to open with a joke about a Democrat for a change. President Biden, remember him, the man who disappeared? President Biden was in Delaware over the weekend, where he went into a Joseph A. Bank, which is puzzling. Why would he go into a Joseph A. Bank? Well, it turns out he was looking to deposit his Social Security check, but they didn't have an ATM, no ATM. So, all right, so let's begin. Well, first, for those of you who don't ever watch, I'm Jimmy Kimmel. Maybe you remember me from The Man Show. We had a pretty good relationship back then. The beer, the trampolines, good times, right? We had fun. But now times are less fun. We're a week away from an election, and we are very divided. And not just because of Donald Trump, because of people like, if I'm being honest, me. I do a lot of mocking and belittling, and it isn't always productive. Am I biased against Donald Trump? Yes. Do I think I have good reasons for being biased against him? Yes. And I'm probably wrong, but I think when you hear some of those reasons, you might agree with me even just a little bit. Now, I assume you're watching this because you care about the person who asked you to watch it, or maybe you're just open-minded and not afraid to hear somebody who might not agree with you speak. Either way, thank you for giving me 15 minutes of your life to talk about Donald Trump. And maybe you love him and you'll vote for him no matter what he says or what he does. Maybe you hate the other side so much you'll look past anything he says or does. Or maybe there's a little voice in the back of your head saying, I might not want this guy driving the bus. And if you're one of those people who think Democrats are controlling the weather or Beyonce eats baby skin, forget it. This is not going to help at all. This is not for you. But what I'm asking you to hear isn't what I have to say. That doesn't matter. I want you to hear what he's saying. Most Americans, and you are probably one of them, don't have time to watch his rallies and his speeches and all the interviews because you have other things to do. But I don't have other things to do. This is all I have to do. And because I don't have other things to do, I've seen all or at least part of every interview, every speech, every...
Now, this is one thing that a lot of, and I don't think is given really enough credit to some of these late night talk show hosts or whatever, even like Jimmy Kimmel or especially like Jon Stewart, where I mean they've got a whole team of people that are willing and able to go through hours upon hours of footage and stuff to pick out, you know, little bitty, you know, most of the time it's little things to be funny and to, you know, get a joke across or whatever. But I mean, they also have the ability to just straight up give you, you know, the real time what's being said and what's been recorded that, you know, oftentimes is said, but people just don't believe that it actually happened. So it'd be interesting here. Like I said, I have not seen this, so it'd be interesting here to see what they've pulled up. Because I'm assuming they're probably about to give some sort of a video, you know, collage of different things that he has said. I would hope just really here recently. I mean, it wouldn't do you any good to be throwing up stuff from years ago, but he said plenty here recently to be enough to get the point across. So let's see what he says.
Every all caps social media post from this man for the past 9 years. And I'm not going to bore you with the old stuff. That, you know, I'm not going to rehash the grab him by the tape or the insults to John McCain or Stormy Daniels or the wall he didn't get Mexico to pay for. I'm not even going to bring up the stuff that has been written about him, even though we've heard some disturbing things from a lot of people he hired to work for him. I'm only going to focus on words that came out of his mouth.
Straight out of his mouth.
Because I think you might be surprised when you hear some of them. Now, since day one, Trump has been telling us he's going to make America great again. Since 2015, he's been saying he wants to abolish Obamacare. He wants to replace it with something better. He says he has a plan.
And real quick, I think this is mainly in response to recently Trump brought up something about Kimmel on some kind of interview. I want to say it was last week or something, or maybe the week before. Recently, though, he actually brought up something about Kimmel. Maybe it was something brought up to him that Kimmel had said, and so Trump said something about Kimmel being I don't know, I can't remember what he said, but it wasn't nice to say the least. And I think there was, I even watched a little bit. It was like something, I want to say it was Morning Joe, which I don't care for Morning Joe, but Joe, was it Scarborough or whatever? Anyways, whatever the hell his name is. I had a little interview with Jimmy Kimmel about what Trump had said, and Kimmel was actually quite reasonable about it. Didn't, you know, and gave a pretty, you know, decent response as far as just, you know, that he basically was talking about his concerns about the whole country and everything. I mean, it really wasn't even an attack on Trump so much, but outside of what's just factually true. And so I think this was really a response to that. Like must have sort of just felt like he needed to give. Maybe this would be productive. Like I said, we're going to see how he does in this. Maybe whether it's productive or not. He seems to feel like it is. So, like I said, we're going to keep.
Says that over and over and over again.
We have no choice but to absolutely replace Obamacare, and we're going to come up with a much better plan. We're going to come up with a great health plan, and this is a great plan. Wait till you see the plans we have coming out literally over the next 4 weeks. We have a plan coming out, an additional plan coming out in a very short period of time. We're going to have.
Okay, as you can see up here, they're giving the date. So they're going all the way back, talking about the repealing Obamacare, which he recently kind of acted like, he didn't know whether, like, he's been playing around with whether he would or not. But but anyways, I'm sure they've got it in here about how they've got, where he said in the debate where they have concepts of a plan or whatever. But it's showing you, this went all the way back to 2016. That's 8 years he's been talking about a plan, but just a couple months ago at the debate he said they have concepts of a plan. I mean, and that was like one of the big things there was like, how damn long does it take for you to come up with a plan? I mean, while he was president, they had a so-called plan that they tried to put out there. I can't remember the name of it. America something, hell, I don't know. It was the whole Trump care thing. It did not have very good support, and it did not pass. I mean, like very, very low support, like something like 8% support from across America. It was poorly supported. And so it just never happened. So that's what this apparently is coming across. And I assume they're going to bring it all the way up to today.
Fantastic health care, and the plan is coming out over the next 4 weeks. We're signing a health care plan within 2 weeks.
9 years after you first started running, do you have a plan, and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan. We already have the concept of the plan, and it'll be much better health care. What the plan is? Yeah, well, we'll be announcing that in about 2 months.
In about 2 months. That was 2019. We still haven't seen a plan for health. If someone who works for you, well, let's say it's your barber, promises to present you with a plan for trimming your hair over and over again for 9 years and never does, you'd probably fire that person. You'd probably get a new barber because your hair would be down to your ass. Donald Trump was president for 4 years. You would think that at this point he would have some answers, some kind of plans for simple questions about subjects like health care and child care. But every time they ask him one of these simple questions, like what actual steps are you going to take to lower the cost of child care, what's the plan, he doesn't even try to answer. He just tap dances.
Can you commit to prioritizing legislation to make child care affordable? And if so, what specific piece of legislation will you advance?
Well, I would do that, and we're sitting down. I was we had Senator Marco Rubio, and my daughter Ivanka was so impactful on that issue. It's a very important issue. But I think when you talk about the kind of numbers that I'm talking about, that because look, child care is child care. It's there's something, you have to have it.
Child care is child care. You can't argue with that. He's like a child who didn't do his book report. The only children whose care he seems to care about are the children who are being forcibly sex changed at school. Now, I understand this is a tough subject for people to understand, but this alarm he keeps sounding about forced sex change operations, this is not happening. This is an imaginary problem. But Donald Trump would like us to believe that our children's penises are in grave danger.
Your child goes to school, and they don't even call you, and they change the sex of your child, perform sex change operation, and send them back home. Make the boy into a girl and not tell the parents. Your boy leaves the school, comes back a girl. It was a he and comes back a she. You say, Jimmy, I love you so much. Go have a good day in school. And your son comes back with a brutal operation, and often without parental consent. Can you even believe we're saying this?
No.
This is seriously, like, this is, I mean, he is sort of playing, because I mean, it's Jimmy Kimmel. It is a little bit of a it is a monologue. He's just naturally, you know, comes off funny. He is sort of playing this a little comedically, you know, which honestly, it could just immediately turn some Republicans off if they, you know, but what is being shown here is true. This is something that Trump has been talking about here over the past few months, and it is just complete. I mean, if you took out the fact that this was Donald Trump, if you just threw up any old man his age, you know, going for like just any office or whatever, you know, trying to do something in politics, and this was what they were talking about, you know, that children are being sent to school, because this isn't this is within the framing of them going to school. Sometimes he frames it as that they just come home from school and they've had a sex change and a completely different person. Or sometimes he frames it as they go to school, they're missing for a few days, suddenly show up out of nowhere after 2 or 3 days, and they're had a sex change, have had an operation. You know, they leave with a penis, come back without one, or leave whatever. I mean, this is something that anybody out there who honestly thinks that something even remotely close to that is happening, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you other than you're being bamboozled. You're being hoodwinked. You're being fooled. Okay? And you seriously need to use your rational thought. You know, think through don't just listen to them and laugh along with them and not, like, you know, not really listen to him. Don't just hear him and not listen to him. Listen to the words, play them back in your head, and rationally think for a second. Is that even possible? It's not. Point blank, it's not. It's not happening. It's just lies. And if you're fooling yourself with the rhetoric or idea that he, you know, that he says flamboyant, hyperbolic stuff all the time. Okay, well then where are we supposed to believe him? If he's constantly saying those are just I mean, basically other fancy words for him lying. I mean, at bare minimum, you could say he's stretching the truth, but no, he's just stretching a lie. He's taking a lie and making it even a bigger lie. He's making a mountain out of a molehill, out of something that's not even existed. I mean, that's just what it is. And this is not the only thing that he does this with. Almost every single thing that Trump talks about, he is lying and taking to extremes. He's taken or taken something that really, there might be like some sort of figment in the area of that, but he takes it and flips it, makes it sound extremely crazy and negative or whatever, and then blows it up to something that is not actually happening. It's so twisted, so hyperbolic that there's no way to believe that it's actually happening. And if you are believing it, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, anyway, let's continue.
None of the schools can believe you're saying this. Public schools are not giving gender surgeries to children or any surgeries to children. And without the parents' permission, parents can't send their kids to school with peanut butter, okay? Schools won't let our kids eat nuts. You think they're okay with cutting them off? This is a lie.
Funny.
You have to know that you do know this. This is not real. The president should be focused on things that are actually things. There are so many difficult problems that need to be solved. And this guy, he can't stop talking about windmills.
The windmills, they don't work.
They're rusting and rotting.
They're making a lot of noise. I could hear it for 2 miles away. They're destroying the country. If you want to see a lot of dead birds, go to a windmill and just look underneath. You'll see birds all over the place. It looks like a bird cemetery.
They're killing the bald eagle and other eagles.
And then they kill all the whales, right? They're driving the whales, I think, a little batty.
And they say the noise causes cancer. You tell me that.
Wah, wah, wah.
The wind is bull.
The wind is bullshit. Honestly, do you know anyone who speaks like that? The people you know who think the wind is bullshit are crazy people standing on a street corner yelling at cars. He's completely preoccupied with nonsense. I'd like you to close your eyes now and imagine you're at the dinner table on a Sunday night. Your grandpa's there. And Grandpa's had a long day. Started the day tweeting hate messages to Taylor Swift. He ended it dancing to the Village People for 39 minutes. You ask him to pass the green beans, and Grandpa launches into this.
But if I'm sitting down and that boat's going down and I'm on top of a battery and the water starts flooding in, I'm getting concerned. But then I look 10 yards to my left and there's a shark over there. So I have a choice of electrocution or shark. You know what I'm going to take? Electrocution. I will take electrocution every single time. Do we agree?
No, we don't, because we don't know what you're talking about. And we don't know why you're talking about it. I mean, aren't you supposed to be running for president? Aren't you supposed to be worried about important topics? And here's the thing. It's kind of funny, these silly random rants of his, and they would be fine if he was hosting a podcast or selling knives at the farmer's market, but he's supposed to be leading us. People are...
He is selling everything else. That's the other crazy thing, is that he's running for office, but yet he's got all these, merchandise sales, where he's trying to, sell products with his name on it to his followers, to his fans, his followers, his supporters. And for what? Because they are valuable? Or because, why would you buy them? Do you think they are valuable or that they will have value? Is it more just like a memento, like a memento or whatever, like something that's like souvenir? I mean, what are these things? What is these for you as or somebody that's purchasing these things? And they're not cheap. They're inflated. It's more than the country is, more than our economy is. I mean, the Trump Bible, it's like a $70 Bible. I mean, it's crazy. It's ridiculous. His shoes are like $200 and something. Or maybe more. The NFTs, the trading cards, the coin, like he's constantly putting out these just to get you to buy them and him to gain the profits of. He's made different claims on why he's doing it, to for money for his campaign or money, or whatever. We know that a lot of the money has went to, paying for his legal fees. And a lot of Trump fans are like, yes, no problem. I don't mind giving him some money for him to help pay his legal fees. You make the argument that he didn't have to, when he was going for president in 2016, that he didn't, he bypassed even accepting, the income of the presidential income or whatever, because he didn't need it. He was, a billionaire or whatever. And that he doesn't need any money. He paid for his everything and blah blah blah. He's got all these different businesses. He's got all these different countries and people paying him money for different things, for his hotels and defense and all these different things. He's constantly raking in money from different governments and other stuff like that in his businesses, but yet he's still in supposedly still has millions of dollars, but yet he is still asking you to send him money for products that he's trying to sell to you because he needs the money that you have already yourself defended that he didn't need even when he was going for president. I mean, the logic here that you feel okay with the fact that he's even using the money that you're sending, and a lot of people at one point was sending him money because they thought it was going to his campaign to help him, become president, especially like in 2020. But then you found out that actually it was going to his, his legal fees and stuff to help him get out of, all the legal troubles and whatnot. And I mean, and you were okay with that. A lot of you were okay with that. Like, okay, yeah, sure. He probably needs the money. I thought he didn't need money. I'm just like, fine. He's bamboozling almost half of America. Well, no, I shouldn't even say that. It can't possibly be half America. Maybe a quarter. There's no way that all Republicans MAGA, all the people who are supporters of Trump are willingly giving him money. I mean, there's no way all of them are. But still, I mean, I couldn't see that the reasoning or the just blatant blindness that all of them, that they just are that naive or whatever to just give their money to him. That's just, there's no way. I'm not going. I feel like I should just give at least some amount of credit to even his supporters that they're just not that foolish. But I mean, who knows? Maybe. But yeah, that's just crazy.
Listening to him, and the country is getting crazier because he makes it okay to be nuts. Remember when all those people were in Dallas waiting for JFK Jr. and his dad to come back to life, and then he would serve as Trump's running mate in 24? Okay, let's try to imagine John F. Kennedy saying the same thing Trump just said.
But if I'm sitting down and that boat is going down and I'm on top of a battery and the water starts flooding in, I'm getting concerned. But then I look 10 yards to my left and there's a shark over there. So I have a choice of electrocution or shark. You know what? I'm going to take electrocution. Oh, and I hate Taylor Swift.
It sounds much nuttier when you hear it from a real president, right? Donald Trump is the exact meeting point between QAnon and QVC. You remember when Ronald Reagan was selling high tops in the 80s? No, you don't, because he wasn't. Reagan didn't sell sneakers. Clinton didn't sell pork rinds. Bush didn't sell baked beans. Presidents don't sell products, except for one who sells a lot of them.
Hello, everyone. I have something incredible to share today. we are announcing the launch of Trump Coins. It's a really beautiful coffee table book. I'm doing my first official Donald J. Trump NFT collection right here and right now. My new book, Save America, is now available for order. By popular demand, I'm doing a new series of Trump digital trading cards. These cards show me dancing and even me holding some Bitcoins. That's the real deal. That's the real deal. My last two Trump digital trading card collections sold out in just hours. And now I'm back with my latest series called the Mugshot Edition. Here it is. If you want to go out and get it, you can go out and get it.
Forgot about those too.
My new Trump watches. That's a lot of diamonds. I love gold. I love diamonds. We all do. I think you all should get a copy of God Bless the USA Bible. Let's make America pray again. God bless you. And God bless the USA.
Now, those God Bless the USA Bibles, you probably know, weren't even made in the USA.
Yeah,
they're made in China.
China.
That's how tough he is on China. He forces them to make his Bibles for him. How does this not bother anyone? How is this not embarrassing? This is like a bizarro world. He's selling Trump Bibles because, of course, he's selling. This is a man with deep reverence for the word of the Lord.
You mentioned the Bible. You've been talking about how it's your favorite book. And you said, I think last night in Iowa, some people are surprised that you say that. I'm wondering what one or two of your most favorite Bible verses are and why.
I wouldn't want to get into it because to me that's very personal. You know, when I talk about the Bible, it's very personal. So I don't want to get into verses. I don't want to get into.
There's no verse that means a lot to you that you think about or cite.
The Bible means a lot to me, but I don't want to get into specifics.
Even to cite a verse that you like.
No, I don't want to do that.
You're an Old Testament guy or a New Testament guy?
Probably equal.
This is, I don't know, sharing his favorite Bible verse is too personal. But did you hear about Arnold Palmer's big one? Boy, look, he obviously hasn't read the Bible. And that's okay. Just say you haven't read the Bible. If you did, you'd know you're not supposed to lie about reading the Bible. It's the 9th commandment. The lying is unprecedented and relentless. So many Republican mayors, governors, senators, people from his own party who want to support him, beg him to stop spreading these ridiculous stories, but he won't. He won't even do it when he's confronted by Fox News.
When you said, you know, it's gone viral, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, you say you're just reporting what had been said. But why not say now, well, look, that turned out not to be true.
I don't know if it's not true. I don't know if it's true or not true. I read
Eating
something.
the pets, you don't know if it's true or not true? No. It's been debunked by local officials.
What about the geese? What about the geese? What happened there? They were all missing.
There was one guy with two geese.
Howie, I have no idea. That's a story that was reported, and I said that. Why don't you go after the newspaper that wrote it? Don't blame me.
That's also something that I've been wanting to talk about, is how much I thought about this today, how much he, in his speeches and everything, talks about how he just knows so much. Every time he brings up something, nobody knows it better than me, all the time. He knows so many things, and nobody else knows as much as he does about every damn thing. But whenever he's confronted about something that makes him look bad, whether it's something like this that is like, a story or something that is become false and he's still stating it, or somebody who has said something or did something that doesn't look good for him, say like just the recent one here with the comedian at his Madison Square Garden rally, saying the vile stuff that he did. And what was his response? The only thing that Trump said about it, he didn't denounce him. He didn't. His campaign did, but Trump himself did not denounce him or anything. What does he act like or say? He says and acts like he doesn't know them. He doesn't know. As much as he talks about, he knows all these things, and nobody knows more than him. Whenever something is negative towards him or shines, makes him look bad, he always obfuscates to the idea of he does not know them, or he doesn't know about it, or he's just clueless. When it comes to the comedian, that was his only response when questioned on it. I don't even know the guy. I don't even know the guy. With even with like this right here, I don't know. I don't know if it's been debunked. I don't know. Come on. You cannot be just own up. That's the problem with Trump. He can't even own up when he's wrong. He cannot own up to anything. He can't own up to him lying. He can't own up to him being wrong or even just being mistaken. Like something that's easily anybody does is just get something wrong or have something, be a mistake. Or, I mean, like, no, he it's always, I didn't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know him. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm blah, 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 blah. Just fucking own up to it. Be a man, be an adult, and just own up to it. Simple as that. But he can't own up because if he owns up to it, then that goes against his whole persona of not being wrong. Because that's his whole vibe, is that he's right about everything. He says no wrong. He does no wrong. That's what all his sycophants and fans and everything. He does no wrong. Everything's right. But when he's confronted with something, it's all I don't know, because he can't be honest. He can't have the humility to be like, yeah, I got that wrong. My bad. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. I'll try to do better next time. Whatever. I mean, no, he can't. And it's just, it just makes him look, he just makes him look not serious. I mean, if you seriously taking this guy seriously, I mean, I don't know what to say anymore. This has been talked about for 8 years now. I don't know what to say.
Well, I think it's been debunked by local officials.
I don't think it's been debunked at all. I think nobody talks about it except you.
But wait, I thought you were against fake news. How is this what we want from a president? Someone who believes or pretends to believe any crackpot story that fits his narrative, who blames everything on immigrants, forgetting, I guess, that 2 of his 3 wives were immigrants? Do we only have room for hot immigrants? Is that either he doesn't care about the truth or he has a hard time understanding what the truth is? Both very bad options. So now we have an election on Tuesday, and Trump has made it very clear that if he wins, it was an honest election, and if he loses, it was a rigged election. There are only 2 possible outcomes. It was stolen or I win. Can you imagine if this happened in the World Series? Like if the manager of the Yankees, Aaron Boone, after the game, reporter asked him what the team has to do to come back. He's like, come back. We don't have to come back. We're winning. We won. They cheated. The umpire was born in L.A., and Ohtani's an illegal immigrant. I'll see you at the victory parade. He would be taken to the hospital. They'd do an MRI on his brain to find out what was wrong. How is what Trump is doing any different from that? He has no plan to lower grocery prices or to make us safer or to protect the border. The only plans he has is to file lawsuits, legal challenges, settle scores, and punish his enemies. That's all he has.
That is it. That is it. All he talks about is doing lawsuits, and he's consistently doing, as much as he talks about the First Amendment and freedom of speech and everything else, and the Republicans all talk about that. Donald Trump currently has multiple lawsuits out there against people for, I mean, he has a lawsuit right now out there for the interview that CNN did with Kamala a couple weeks ago, and how they didn't. I can't remember. It was something that they. Oh, what was it? something to do with it that he's got a lawsuit against on them saying something or not doing something. I can't remember what it is now, but I mean, he has one out there for them. He's done lawsuits on several people because I even think at one point he had a lawsuit on Jimmy Kimmel. I mean, it's just because they said something about him. The demand's not serious. And then all the other, as he talks about, is immigrants. Everything is blamed on immigrants. Everything that's wrong with this country is completely all immigration, all immigrants. Everything's wrong with them. That's this whole argument. Everything. And then China. It's immigrants or China. That's it. That's his whole plan. Everything. That's it. That's it. While the Republicans are constantly acting and talking like Kamala doesn't have, like, they don't know who she is, even though I don't even know how many interviews she's done at this point, even though they act like she doesn't do interviews. She has done shit tons of interviews. All over. I think it was either today or yesterday, she had like 5 interviews in one day. She has done crap loads of interviews, has all kinds of rallies out there where she has spoken over and over and over again for the past 2 months about her economic policies and everything. She has laid them out over and over and over again in detail. And they are still to this day stating, well, Kamala doesn't say anything. We don't even know who she is. We don't know what she's for. Blah, blah. And today, somebody making that argument, they made the argument and framed it around the fact that they've never heard of like her background. Had nothing to do with policy. Suddenly it was, well, we just don't know where she come from. We don't know who she is. What are you talking about? What is that? Like, is that what you need? The majority of the DNC was quite literally them defining who Kamala was as a person. Her whole entire background was laid out over the DNC week, like in depth. So if you really want to know who she is personally, go watch the DNC. If you want to know what she has for policies, again, watch the DNC or watch any rally, watch any interview. They are all over the internet. It does not take much. Just search it. Don't sit here and constantly say that she isn't doing something or she hasn't said something or I don't know what she is or what she's doing, which you haven't even tried to find out. And she's been stating this over and over and over again. But what does Trump state? He doesn't ever state any policy. The dude doesn't know policy. Every time his campaign has tried to get him to talk about policy in his rallies and stuff, he will kind of half start on it and then just go off on a tangent and never get around to it. Never finishes it. Because he doesn't know policy. Okay, he doesn't know. He doesn't have any actual roots in anything. He just likes to talk off the cuff, speak about whatever the hell he wants to that has absolutely nothing to do with anything. This is all he is. And he only speaks on things that get his supporters to cheer and scream out Trump and for him. Because that's what he wants. That's what he wants to. He just says what he can say to get a reaction that he can absorb for himself. Self-praise. He wants that. He wants that. That's all he cares for. And he'll say anything to get it. He doesn't care whether it's true. He doesn't care whether it's right. He doesn't care if he even believes it.
Plan. He's going to pull all the same tricks he pulled last time. and more. And this is not my opinion. This is happening right out in the open. They're not even trying to keep it secret. The one thing that makes this country a democracy more than anything else are free and fair elections of the people, by the people, and for the people. That's what it says. He wants to turn it into of me, by me, for me. He's planning to pardon himself. Nixon must be rolling over in his grave, just punching himself in the face right now for not thinking of that. He doesn't believe the election was rigged in 2020. His own White House staff testified under oath that he knew all along there was no evidence of fraud. He knows he lost the election. Trump's own daughter, his golden child, Ivanka, one of his closest advisors, said there was no evidence of voter fraud. And yet here we are almost 4 years later, and he's doing it all over again.
If I lose, I'll tell you what's possible, because they cheat. That's the only way we're going to lose. They don't want voter ID because they want to cheat. They're trying to rig the vote through this crap they're doing.
They cheat with ballots and they drop ballots and fake ballots.
They're trying to rig it with this. This is their new form.
I didn't rig it. They did.
They are professional thieves when it comes to elections.
I see the way they lie and the way they cheat.
How will the Democrats cheat in Pennsylvania?
About 12 different ways. So many ways. If you had all day, I could give you examples.
I have 2 minutes. Just give me one of those examples. Those poor dummies on January 6th, they all went to prison because they believed him. And I get that politicians don't typically tell the truth. They exaggerate. But this is ridiculous. How could we have an election if whoever loses won't accept the results and think CBS should have its license revoked for an episode of 60 Minutes he didn't like, who sides with Russia over the CIA and said COVID equipment?
Right, that's sorry. It was CBS for the 60 Minutes interview. That's what it was. That's what it was. I misspoke earlier. I said CNN over an interview, and I couldn't remember. Now I remember. It was the CBS interview with the 60 Minutes where they cut. He sued over the fact that they cut a lot of that interview out. Like, you know, it was clearly cut and chopped up and, you know, didn't give. So he's basically sued because they didn't give the entire interview out. That was the lawsuit. I mean, sure, yeah, I agreed. It was chopped up like hell. It was a ridiculous interview. I didn't even talk about that interview because it was so stupid. It was one of the stupidest ones she's given. And it actually made it look like a reasonable, you know, thing that he didn't even want to do it. I mean, it actually made Trump look better because he didn't do it. I mean, but to sue over it is just ridiculous. It's just absolutely ridiculous. But I mean, he has been talking about this all along. Even with the little McDonald's just fiasco that he did a week ago or so. I mean, you know, when asked about it, you know, he's like, well, I mean, yeah, of course I'll, you know, if it's fair, of course I'll accept it if it's fair. But you know, if it's got to be fair. And already this week, either yesterday or the day before, he was in a rally or interview one talking about how some county somewhere or something with early voting, he already claiming that they cheated with no evidence. He's already claiming that they cheated. I mean, it's already started. He's already making the claims even before voting day. Just on early voting, he's claiming that there's areas already cheating. I mean, it's going to happen all over again. But yet we've had ballot boxes in Oregon and Washington State that were arson, caught on fire, burning ballots. You know, somebody, you know, set them on fire or whatever. It was like 2 or 3 different boxes. Roughly, I mean, could have been 100 or so or more ballots in each one of them. I think one of them luckily had some sort of like fire retardant inside of it, so it kind of put the flame out itself. But I'm still sure that there was some ballots damaged. And now you've got people that, they're going to have to call in if they know within a certain period of time, because they, when they know when the ballots were picked up at one point, because I think they're picked up like every day or at least once a day or maybe twice a day, picked up. And after this particular pickup, whatever that time span was, which I don't know what it was, maybe 8-10 hours. I don't have a clue. But I mean, that if you, it's like, look, if you dropped at this drop box within the amount of time, you need to, contact us so we can see whether or not we actually received your ballot or not. And, whether we need to send you another one. I mean, the state of Oregon, that's like literally how they vote is by mail. That's all they're voting. They don't vote in person. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, some of those could have been Republican votes that got burned. I mean, it's just a stupid act. I mean, it was like in all these locations, as far as I understand, were in more like democratically strong areas, like in inner urban areas. But I mean, still, it could have been some there, but you just risked, some of those ballots actually being for Trump, just to what? I mean, cause mayhem or whatever, or didn't turn around and make a claims. I'm thinking there's probably going to be, and quote me, that there probably will be claims in those particular areas after the vote that people voted twice, or that there was double voting going on. That they, sent in a ballot and they turned around and sent in another. They made claims that theirs got damaged and they sent in another, and so they were voted for twice. I'm almost confident that those areas there's going to be claims on that. So, I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's ridiculous. Just let people fucking vote. I mean, it's ridiculous. Just let people vote. Don't try to cause any problems. For goodness sakes. And don't make claims where there's nothing to be claimed.
To Putin at the height of the pandemic when Americans couldn't even get it. Not to mention the 34 felony convictions. Will he be president from jail? I mean, how do you see that working? Listen, politics in a lot of ways is like sports. You probably just root for the team your dad roots for. Maybe you've been a Republican your whole life. That's your team, and it feels wrong not to root for them or to vote for them. But this time around, you wouldn't be alone. You have a lot of company because hundreds of prominent Republicans, including dozens of members of his own administration, generals, senators, his own chief of staff. I mean, Dick Cheney is... all believe he is unfit to be president. This has never happened before. And you know who else isn't voting for him? I don't care. I'll tell you who. This guy, Mike Pence, his adoring, subservient vice president, said, I will not be endorsing Donald Trump this year. Who would have ever thunk it? I mean, it's like if milk turned on cookies. His own vice president. How much more do you need?
I mean, that is
if you do need more,
pretty
I suggest
scathing,
you watch
but
that rally
most
he
of
had
his
at
fans
Madison Square
don't like
Garden,
him.
or listen to all 3 hours of his interview with Joe Rogan.
Most of Trump's supporters don't like Mike Pence strictly because of January 6th. So even that's not going to turn. It's ridiculous that wouldn't, because they supported him all along up until that point. But that's the logic, though. That's the logic. Come on.
Rogan, because most elections are about policy. This one is not. This is about sanity and security and democracy. I saw a shirt the other day. It said, I support Trump because he pisses off the people who piss me off. And it's funny, and I get it. Sometimes it feels like no one has a sense of humor anymore. But is that really all we want for America, is to piss each other off? I don't want that. Anyway, if you made it this far...
Yeah.
If you
That's
made it
just
this
not
far,
a
thank you
good
for
way to
listening.
look at America.
And whoever wins, once the votes are counted, if Trump has more of those votes, we are going to accept that. Even if it doesn't go our way, we will.
I'm sorry. I accidentally hit the wrong button. I'm going to have to splice this one together. But anyway, we were right here. somewhere. But yeah, talking about the shirt. Yeah, why? That's just a horrible look at life or look at our country. Just like I heard about somebody saying something to the idea of, yes, Trump is an asshole, but he's my asshole. It's like, really? I mean, is that what you really want in office? Is an asshole? I mean, like, that's just a weird way of looking. Like, yeah, I'm going to vote for that asshole. Like, what? Why such a negative, like, degrading look at the presidency like that? Like, that's who we need to be in the White House. I mean, is that what we have done at any point? Did we look at Bill Clinton and say, yeah, I want that asshole? And did we look at Bush? Either one of them be like, yeah, I want that asshole in there. Did we look at did they look at Reagan? I want that asshole in there. I mean, why is that the outlook? I mean, it's just it's mind-boggling to me. And hell, maybe there was people that said that shit. I don't know. I mean, that's just a very poor look at being or choosing someone, a leader of the free world, supposedly free world. Anyway, okay, so we're gonna try to finish this up. I know I'm getting long here, and I'm already going to have to splice this together. So, let's go.
Like it, but we'll accept it because that's how it has to go. We vote, we count the votes. Winner wins, loser goes away. That's the only way this country can work. And it's up to you to do whatever you think is the right thing to do. But before you go, we have one more thing. This is Guillermo. He is an immigrant. He became an American citizen. And this is a toast for our fellow Americans.
Damn, Kimmel.
God bless America. We'll be back with Hugh Grant.
Okay, so yeah, overall, do I think that was, I mean, I think it was decent. There was lots of other things that could be said, but I mean, he's trying to keep it within a certain amount of period. As far as like being serious, and there were moments where I think he may have, or whether anything that he said was going to just be completely off-putting. We're talking about, this is something that was supposed to help bring a potential Trump, voter, or at least consideration, bring them from the fold or something like that. Do I ultimately think that he is, that anything said here or shown here necessarily will do that? Some of it maybe, but it wasn't bad. He certainly didn't, he did make some, I don't know about where you really consider them attacks, but kind of attacks on Trump. But he certainly didn't attack voters outside of, I mean, maybe hardcore MAGAs. He did attack a couple of times. But I guess he felt like he wasn't going to get to them anyway. I mean, he said that in the beginning. If you believe certain things, then this is not for you. He was really trying to just solely talk to those who maybe were either just sort of on the line, or, were, like he said, back in the back of your mind, like, I really don't want to vote for this guy, but I mean, I feel like I kind of have to, or that's just, I always vote for Republicans, so I'm not, why, like, it's just my team, whatever the case. I mean, yeah, you some of that stuff was a very clear cut, and I mean, shows what Trump really kind of is. I mean, there's a lot more that could be said, honestly. I don't know that he necessarily picked the best things, but it was decent, not too crazy. Like I said, there was a couple moments that I thought maybe he got a little too it may have come off a little like degrading to some degree, maybe not a little, well, not degrading, maybe slightly condescending, but I mean it. But I mean, I kind of felt like he was at some point going to be like that a little bit. I mean, like I said, he's late night. It's just he's trying to be serious, but at the same time, he kind of naturally tries to be funny. So he's going to laugh about things. He's going to kind of shrug it a little bit and slide in some sort of something that's going to be somewhat funny. He's got a crowd that he's also speaking to. I mean, that you heard them laughing several times. So, it wasn't bad though. There were several things there talked about. Like I said, I addressed some things myself, gave some other stuff to think on and whatnot. So I guess we're going to kind of claim this is, a special message from Jimmy Kimmel and me. But anyways, it's look. In all seriousness, though, Trump is somebody who, if in any way you see the silliness, you see the nuttiness of him, you see the just rhetoric, the speech and talking about things in a way that's just, I know it's always like, well, you hear to just be like, yeah, it's just, he's just that way. It's just Trump, think about anything that Trump has said, anything that Trump has done, think of it in the light like of anybody else being put in his shoes. Any Democrat being put, if any Republican even was put in his shoes and said some of those things, they would be, at least to some degree, laughed out or being concerned on. But even more so, if any Democrat, if Biden had said or done some of the things that Trump has said and done, Kamala had said and done anything, the things that he had said and done, I mean, or name whatever Democrat you want. This is, y'all would be through the roof. Republicans would be through the roof nutty on the fact of what they said or did, like if it was them. But Trump says it, and it's just, that's just Trump. I'm sorry, but it's just, no, it's not. It's not just Trump. And the rally this past weekend was a big clue in the people that are behind him, the people that are influencing him, the people that are potentially even going to have a part in his administration. I mean, that's representing him, going out there and speaking, and the things that are being said. If you honestly listen, and I mean, don't just sit there and enjoy the festivities of the whole thing and blah blah blah. If you actually listen to the words that some of those people were saying and internalize them and think about it, genuinely think about it, and whether or not is that really what you want representing you in the White House. And then if that is not enough, think about whether Biden, Kamala, or any of her surrogates, people that are backing behind her or anything, were up on that stage saying those same words, how you would feel about them saying it. And if you would get furious at them saying it, then you need to internalize and look at yourself. Why are you not getting furious at your own party saying it? Right? I mean, all the things that you so-called get furious at Democrats saying, same thing. Flip that and say, well, what if Trump had said that? Would I be so furious about it? I mean, those are the type of things, the whole put yourself in my shoes, that whole argument that I know I was brought up on as a, conservative, Southern, country-like setting, rural Mississippi in the Bible Belt. That's what I was brought up in. And you were brought up, to put yourself in my shoes. But just, whatever, think about, if you put yourself in someone else's shoes, what it might be like. How would you think about what's going on? Or whatever the case, it's that whole idea. Same thing. Those things that you are getting mad about on a certain person or in the other party, just flip the script. Put your own party in there, and would you be as mad? And then the same thing. The stuff that you were defending your party for, if just think about if the other party had said that, would you be mad? And if those two are not the same, if they are conflicting with each other, then you need to really look at yourself and what you are accepting. What you are willingly accepting from your side that you would not from the other. And I'm going to tell you right now, as someone who, is on the left, and I know many on the left, and I'm not saying all, but there is a great percentage of people that are more in like the progressive camp like I am. Not a liberal, not a Democrat. But I'm saying that's how I look at both parties. When I look at one of them and I get mad about something, I look at the other one. And I think to myself, yep, if they had said it, I would do the same damn thing. Nobody's right in saying something like this. I don't care who they are. And it's the same thing. If what had happened at that rally at Madison Square Garden, if that was the Democratic Party, I would through the roof go off on everybody in the Democratic Party for it. Anybody that was involved. Just like I am with Trump and his whole campaign and crew behind him. Because I'm consistent. I strive to be consistent with my thoughts across the board. That's the idea. That's the point. If you're going to, and that's to hold to true policy. That's to hold to true ideas. Is to be consistent in how you are applying those policies and ideas. And if you are not consistently and equally applying the things that you say and claim that you believe in, then you have to look at yourself and whether you actually believe in them or not, or whether you're being fair or not. That's all I'm saying. And when you look at Trump and the stuff that he says, it is clear as day at how much he is completely let off the hook for everything that he says and does by his supporters. And while, yes, you probably will be like, well, Kamala supporters let her get away with saying certain things too. Yeah, there's some of them, yeah. But I know quite a bit of them that actually call her out too. And she's had to backpedal on a couple of things because of that. There's been a couple of things that she's backpedaled on that people fussed about that I wish she wouldn't have backpedaled on. Because I actually agreed with her. But that's one difference. A lot of the Republican Party will not go against Trump. There are a few politicians, just like there are a few actual voters, a certain percentage of voters that just straight up are, the anti-Trumps in the Republican Party. Now, I guess we could argue, have a discussion about why that is, maybe, and whether there's, validity in their reasoning, maybe, but I mean, but those who full on 100% are behind Trump, they ignore everything that he says and they're willingly accepting it. And I feel like it's because they're not actually listening to him. They're just caught up in all the show and the glamour and the Hollywood-like style of his campaigns and rallies and of his campaign rallies and whatnot. Like, you seriously got to start really listening to the guy. And not only just him, but the people around him, listening to what they're actually saying. Like Elon, for instance. Elon just, has already come out a couple of times talking about, where we talk about how much it's argued that, Trump's going to fix the economy, that, he's the one that's supposedly so strong in the economy, and people believe that his economy was so much better and that he would fix the economy. And Elon himself has come out, even, he's all over Trump. And his rallies, big supporter, staunch. They're working together like almost as if he's the VP. He has already come out a couple of times now talking about Trump's economy and how he makes an argument that if they get their way and he's put into place that he wants to be put into place of, and the Trump policies along with what he wants them to be, that we would wind up going through a hardship time. Unidentified as how long it would be, but he was saying that we would go through some hardships as a country, but eventually at some point, not stating an amount of time, at some point in the long run, it would wind up better for the country. That's how he has stated it. And he's stated it a couple of times now in different types of interviews, in rallies and then in like written interviews. That we would wind up going through some type of hardship first, unidentified amount of time, before we would wind up eventually coming out on the other side in a theoretical better economy. But he's admitting to austerity that would happen before then. And he oftentimes talks about the Argentina, I think it is, economy, and the guy there that has just completely broken Argentina's economy. I mean, he talks so good about the guy, and looks to him and what he does, what he has done as like successful. But Argentina's economy is completely shit right now. I mean, there are people starving and everything else all throughout the country. I'm telling you, you really need to listen to these people around Trump. The ones that are influencing him, the ones that are giving him ideas, and the ones that he is promising different things to, positions and whatnot. I'm telling you, it's not going to be good. And even if you were to say, well, I mean, it's not, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. Just because things people say it is going to happen doesn't mean it's going to happen. Are you really willing to take that risk? You claim that you know what Trump's going to do because he's been in there 4 years, but this time as much as you might not want to believe it, it's going to be different. Because the plan is for them to put people in place. He was being held in check the first 4 years by the people that were in the administration, in the different, areas of the administrative state and stuff like that. He was being held in check. This time, the plan is for him to go unchecked, to get rid of all those people, literally, and put people in place that he personally wants there that will do what he wants. I'm telling you, he will not be held in check this time. They will do everything they can to make him unchecked, free to do whatever he wants. And I honestly do not think anyone truly wants to see Trump unabated, completely free to do what he wants. That is a scary thought. Anyways, thank you for your time. I know this is a very long video, but it was important. We have less than a week. And is Kamala perfect? Fuck no. But at least will there be some reasonable, like, at least, or even the ability to maybe influence her in a positive way? I actually think so, yes. And I honestly think right now I feel in my gut that some of the things that she is holding to right now that seems very Biden-like. I think she's only holding it because she's being told to hold it, because they honestly feel that like they just feel that that's the only way they can win the election, is by holding to certain talking points, holding to certain things being said around certain specific ideas. But I really feel in my gut that once she actually gets the nomination, wins the election, I think we will really start to see us change, a separation from her and Biden, like in her rhetoric and the things that she says, things that she's planning. I feel that there will be a massive divide. And in good ways. I just have a gut feeling for it. I might be wrong. There's actually probably a good argument and chance that I am wrong. I'm not holding it, I'm not going to chisel it in stone or something. I'm completely reasonable in thought of that. Yeah, I could just be wrong. But I am hopeful. And I feel in my gut that there will be something. But even if not, even if she did just stick with the Biden plans, as far as our country is concerned, we will be fine. Foreign stuff, I'm probably going to be pretty pissed about. And it might screw some stuff up. But I feel that even that, I feel if at the very least the foreign issues that Biden has been pathetic on, I actually think Kamala, if there's nothing else that she separates herself from, I actually truly think that those things she will separate herself from. Even if all the domestic stuff she doesn't separate herself, I truly think that specifically she very well will separate herself from Biden. So anyways, really, really, all I'm asking is to really think it through. Don't, at least leave yourself open to maybe even the day of next Tuesday. You might even drive up there with one thing in mind, but then before you cast that bubble or scribble it in or do your punch or put it in the computer, whatever way you cast your vote, keep yourself at least a small bit open to make a last minute change if you need to. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, thank you very much. And it's been Clear Talk. Next time, peace. I'm out.